Welcome to the Court of Bookish Queens, a podcast where mother, daughter, and intruder dive headfirst into the world of Romantasy, sharing our unfiltered thoughts, bold opinions, and theories so wild they might need legal representation.
Juliet, I'm the daughter, Romantasy addict, and CEO of Falling in Love with Fictional Men.
I'm Helen, the mother, trained legal counsel, and fully here for the drama.
And I'm Melissa, the intruder, uninvited Romantasy novice, but oh, do I have opinions. So listeners, adjust your crowns and remember, in this court, chaos is not just welcome, it's the dress code. So with that, court is now in session. Hello, and thank you for joining us on today's episode, where we're covering chapters 6 to 21 in A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Before we dive deep into the episode, please listen carefully to our content warning. While we are focusing our discussion on chapters 6 to 21, in Book 1, we are going to bring in themes, foreshadowing, and lore and other insights from across the series. So yes, these episodes are spoiler central for the whole of the ACOTAR series. These deep dives, however, do not have spoilers for the rest of Sarah J. Maas's series, except for at the end of some episodes, which we will be sure to give you a big spoiler warning beforehand. So if you haven't read the rest of the Maasverse, you can leave the episode before we give the spoiler warning, or you can keep listening for Throne of Glass and Crescent City callouts. Last thing before we jump into the episode, if you're loving being part of the courts and enjoying these deep dives, and if you want more content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or why not all of them? To anybody who's watching today, we're going to get into our favorite topic, at least Helen and mine, Tamlin. Oh, Tamlin. He has appeared on the page. He appeared in a different form and then turned into another. We're going to get into it all. Where shall we start?
I guess chapter 4 it is.
Chapter 4. The hides are sold. Tamlin has burst through the door. First impressions?
It is hard to do this when you know him already, but I've
Mm-hmm.
tried. And I
Mm-hmm.
tried to remember what it felt like when I saw it the first time, and I was just excited. I was
Okay.
like, ooh, it's starting.
Yeah, I remember my first time. I was just confused. Why is this beast talking? So, and I think that's a lot of readers out there feel the same. Because my best friend, who I told you guys has like started reading it, she was like, "What's going on here?" I'm like, "You got to keep going."
Well, for people who've never done fantasy, I can
Mhm.
understand that. How about you,
Mhm.
Jules?
Like you said, it's hard to really grasp onto any characteristics or qualities that he shows in the beginning because,
Yeah.
number one, he's not really being himself. And number
Mhm.
two, we know how he ends up or where he is in other books. But I think he came off as angry.
Even before that, though, we see that he's very angry, but he doesn't do any harm. What he does is he actually shows mercy, maybe,
Well, it's all a
even though
facade
he's
as
angry.
well. It's all a
Sure.
facade. He's not actually angry. If anything, he's probably like, finally, it's happened. Let's kick off this prophecy. I think it's just all facade that he's angry, and he's trying to
I'm not
navigate.
sure of that. I'm not sure. I think he is angry because he's lost a friend. But if we look at how he acts from here on out, he doesn't want to be there. He's very two-hearted about it. He doesn't know if he wants this to happen or not.
Yeah.
This book, reading it again, makes me really claim Tamlin as my client.
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
No, no, you don't get it. This is the thing. He is a good guy, and there is nothing in there that he does to me that would show anything negative. In this book, he is a solid good guy. Even when at the end, Rhys badmouths him and says, why did he just sit on his ass? Right? I didn't, I went through this entire book and I marked all the stuff where Tamlin does something or says something. There's nothing there that I would, uh,
So even
yeah,
when, so okay, there are moments where they'll be like sitting at the dining table or whatever, and he's like clearly angry. He doesn't yell, but he does this growl thing that frightens her, and it just like reverberates across the room, right? You don't think that there's something negative to that at all?
I didn't
at
think
all.
he was angry. Again, I didn't see anger. I saw annoyance. And when he would do the growl, at least in the very beginning, it was more towards Lucien. And there's so many clues. Obviously,
Mhm.
knowing what we know, you can tell, like when Lucien and Tamlin are like, Feyre, do you love that man that she was with back in her village? And she's like, why are these two like ancient dudes worried about my love life, you know? And it's like, oh my God, like that is such a clue. But it's more annoyance than anything because Lucien is being very obvious and he's still in two minds about it. So he's like, just like, shut up. Like he's annoyed with his friend. I didn't think he was angry.
So do let's look at this as well. To me, reading it at first, Lucian is the one who seems more, not nice.
He's very sarcastic and witty. That's how he comes off in the beginning.
He's definitely witty, but he's also like, you can see that, he doesn't actually care about her one bit.
Well,
Well, he cares
she
about the
killed his
prophecy.
friend.
Nah, 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 nah. I disagree. I think this whole thing about killing the friend knew what he was in for. He went into that forest wanting to be killed. You know what I mean? But
Waiting to be killed.
yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing, it's like I don't even think he's upset about Andreas being killed. It's about, okay, is this the right chick? Is she gonna be the curse breaker? And all his questions are related to the curse.
So you
So
think it's fear that he kind of treats her poorly and is super blunt in the
not
beginning?
fear. I think it's like investigative. What do you think, Helen?
I think he also wants to keep a distance, and he does not want to care about her.
Mm-hmm.
To him, he's like, she's just a tool, right?
Yeah,
How
because
we
they don't
can
care about
get back to
humans. I
normal.
mean, yeah, that's true.
They don't care.
Jules,
They
you are
don't care.
too quiet. What is going on through that head?
I'm trying to like think of ways that I can combat what you guys are saying, but I'm just having a hard time.
Because we're right.
Well,
It pays to
I
be
see what you're
right,
saying about
doesn't it?
I see what you're saying about Lucian, and I can agree, but I just don't agree about the Tamlin bit. I don't
Okay,
agree.
question.
Okay.
What don't you agree? You don't agree he's a good guy and that he's in two minds? What is it that you're
No,
not
I'm not saying he's not a good guy because he's shown to me at least that he has a compassionate and morally conscientious side to him. You know, when he
Mhm.
says to Lucian, I couldn't leave her there or like let them live like that because of what my dad did to their kind. You know, like I see that and, you know, I can acknowledge
let
he's
the
not a
record
bad
show
dad.
she sees it. Let the record show. Go ahead.
I just don't agree. Mom, you said that you couldn't find a single thing where he's just has negative qualities, and I totally disagree. I think his
Oh,
anger,
no, no.
we
I
see,
don't.
just let me say, okay, we see the very first glimmerings of his volatility and anger with the thing that I just explained, that he didn't yell when he was
Growl.
upset, but he growled and it frightened her. It, to me, that was like almost foreshadowing, or it was like showing what he was kind of capable of, and then, you know, later we find out other things that he did that were more explosive. But yeah.
Well, I want to get into something over here. The entire time I reread this book, what I saw was a very depressed character in Tamlin. I think he shows all the signs of depression. For 50 years, the guy's been with this mask on, and his entire court is kind of like under house arrest of some sort.
And he's to
Um,
blame.
and he is not necessarily to blame, but she's put this on him. Like, he's responsible.
Mm.
He could just give in the way Rhys gave in, right? He could just give in, and then
Tamlin
his
could just
court will
give in.
be, yeah. But he can't. He doesn't want to. He's got integrity. I see that. He's got integrity in a way
Jules, you
that,
can't say he doesn't. You can't say Tamlin doesn't have integrity.
No,
Like
no, no.
he lifted her family out from poverty, and I think it's important to note that Tamlin only brought Feyre over to Perinthian because it would help his court, not because it would help him, but it would help his entire court. So it wasn't selfish, really.
Can we like start talking about the point where Rhys kind of shows up?
Okay, so listeners, ladies, court. We've talked about Tamlin, we've talked about Lucien, and for the first time on our pages, we get Rhys. Everybody's favorite except mine, but we've established that. Let's discuss.
he's hot for sure. He's hot.
I don't see the appeal. Like, okay, I have to say something. When I first read this book, right? Not ever have read fantasy before in my life. Like when I would picture these fairies, like I was picturing like little cartoon characters, like, like, and they're like purple eyes and this. So it wasn't until I finished the book and looked at the fan art and I'm like, what is happening here? I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And they don't look like fairies. They seem like bats, if anything. But that's a different discussion. Bat boys, we all love the Bat Boys. But he has purple eyes, like whatever. Like I was like, I just don't
Wait.
see his appeal. I can't with him.
So
Not purple.
yeah, when we first see him on Fire Night, she says he had dark hair, pale skin, and eyes were so blue that they were almost violet. And I don't get what that means. I don't get how it can be so blue it looks purple.
Wait. I have a good thing for that because I'm a little older than the two of you ladies. You know what Elizabeth Taylor was known for?
Her purple eyes?
That
Yes, ma'am.
she had violet eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
The icon, the legend. Yes. Okay, well, I see that. When I read purple, it was more like, okay, they're purple. Second time around, I'm like, okay, like I can see the appeal, whatever. But they all have like this long hair. It's just not for me. It's not for me.
God. Oh my god. We have to get into that at some point because I have so many thoughts
The
about
hair,
the
I just
long
feel like they
hair.
need to get a barber in Corinthian and buzz that out, cut it up.
So many thoughts.
Okay, but wait. It's not just that he's got purple eyes, but what does he say? She says he's the most beautiful man she's ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's how she ends the
why?
chapter. That's how she
Yeah,
ends
okay.
it.
So and the thing with me is that I was kind of scared of him, and I was thinking, that old ugly guy who played a vampire, the old Dracula movies. That's
Okay.
who I was picturing in my head. I was like,
Okay,
ew.
I have to
Even
say
though I
something to
read
this.
the
I have to say something. And maybe, Jules, it's worth us like going through our old text because I remember the first time I read it, the minute he came on the page and she said that he was the most beautiful guy that she'd ever seen. I'm like, this is not going to end well for Tamlin. I knew it immediately. I'm
I
like,
kind of
really.
remember.
I knew it
Vaguely.
immediately. Yeah. Because I'm like, if you're starting a relationship with somebody or starting to like fall for them, get to know, whatever, right? You don't say, damn, that's one hot looking man. He's the hottest I've ever seen. You just don't. I was
She
like,
says, she says this, she says, standing before me was the most beautiful man I've ever seen.
it was done from that minute, and that's probably why I hate Feyre so much. I'm like, how dare she? How dare she? Like, Tamlin has just raised your family out of poverty. You can paint all you want. You lounge around all day. You're basically the queen of the Springport, and here you are looking at another man.
But at this point, I gotta say, you can look, just don't touch.
I just knew it. I knew from that moment it wasn't going to end well for Tamlin. But me being the romantic I am, like I held a candle out for Tamlin. But yeah, I knew Rhys was a big character, like from the minute I saw him.
But like, look, Feyre just says he was the most beautiful man I've ever seen. She tries to get away. She's not like pursuing
Oh,
him. She's not like,
no, no, no. She doesn't try to get away. In fact, he leaves first and then she calls him back.
wait,
Do you
what?
remember that part?
No. No, but like she's figuring out that he's
Well,
gonna like see through her lies, so she's trying to get away.
well, he kind of saves her, right? Like she was in a bad
Yeah.
situation. He kind of is like the knight in shining armor that comes and saves her. Like I like that about him. I thought like, oh, okay, like seems like a good guy.
Yeah,
But
because she
then
was about to be in some trouble.
yeah, she was about to be in some trouble. So he did help her out of that sticky situation. But then when she's like, oh, he's the most beautiful man I've ever seen. And then, I mean, I don't think if he's the most beautiful man you've ever seen, I don't think you're running away from him. Like, yeah, she wants to talk to him. That's called cheating for me. I don't know, but that's called
Okay,
cheating.
No.
wait. So this is the part. He waved his hand toward the drums. Enjoy the right then. Try to stay out of trouble. His eyes gleamed in a way that suggested staying out of trouble meant staying far, far away from him. Though it might have been the biggest risk I've ever taken, I blurted, so you're not a part of the spring court? So he's leaving. She pulls him back.
The
But that's
biggest risk
no.
I've ever taken. Put that across the
No,
screen.
no.
Biggest risk. What does that mean to you? That means that she is putting herself out there. She is shooting her shot.
No, no. Come on. That is not what she's doing.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. She's
Oh,
saying
but
Listeners,
this.
you tell us, but I think it is. I really do think it is.
well, in this book, he talks about that.
But
He
look,
talks about when she
okay.
called him back. He was about to leave, and she calls him back. So he felt it.
It's a big moment. It's like a meet cute, but obviously the meeting wasn't so cute. But then after, like it's the first interaction, so you can see it's that initial spark. Like, she wanted him from the moment she saw him. Like
I mean,
you will
okay.
never convince me otherwise.
Can you blame her though? Because like, if that's true, can you blame her? There's a
Yes.
bond
What do you
between
mean?
them.
Can I blame her?
There's
She's
a
living
bond
in another
between
man's
them.
house.
There's a
She,
bond between them. They're mates, bro.
Well,
bro. Oh
but this
my
is
god.
the thing that first of all, there is no relationship at this point. There is no relationship yet with Tamlin.
I
At this
disagree.
point, no, at
There's
this point
no.
they haven't
There wasn't even
done
flirting. There wasn't nothing. There was nothing brewing. There was
well.
nothing.
There was something because
No.
she I think she was attracted to him. He was certainly attracted to her, which is why he told her not to go anywhere but lock herself up in the room, to not to go to Kalanmai, but she was interested enough that she went out anyway. So that attraction was there, but at this point, that's all it was.
No. No.
There was nothing else at this point.
Feyre did
So
not
okay,
go to
so Jules.
Kalamai because of Tamlin. She did
So
not go to the Fire Night because of Tamlin. She went because she felt something in her. She kept saying the drums, the drums. But in my head, I think it was because Rhys was there. It was not nothing to do with Tamlin.
look, maybe that's right, but you think? Okay, tell me this. You think it's fine to be living in another man's house? He's providing everything for you. He's provided everything for your family. There is attraction, but it's not like It's not cheating. It's not like a relationship. It's not
No,
what?
no. I really don't think that there was a relationship there yet. What I'm saying though is that just because you're attracted to each other doesn't mean there is a relationship. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I
You
agree
can
with that. You can be attracted to many people and not have a relationship, but if you have an
exactly.
attraction, right, and then it's like, oh, I'm just gonna ignore that and like come back to it after I flirted over here, like, ugh, it's giving me the ick. It's not for me.
Well, when there is no relationship, you can be attracted to multiple people.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's true.
and
I'm being
and you can
harsh. I
flirt
know
with
I'm being harsh.
yeah.
I
And you
look,
can
I know I'm
flirt.
being harsh, but like it's also like we know everything. We know everything. So for me, that's the beginning of her choosing Rhys over Tamlin when Tamlin has given her so much. So that I think that's why I judge it so harshly.
I just think that someone giving you so much should not be a reason you're tied to them. Like, that is not love. That's not true.
Yeah, but she
That's
does love
gratitude.
him. Yeah, I agree with that. But she ends up loving him. Somehow she does. She goes under
I
that mountain for him,
com-
and we'll discuss this
I
in other episodes.
I completely disagree. Let me explain.
You don't think Feyre loved Tamlin?
No, no. I think that okay, look, I think that okay, so when I read it, I think the first moments where we think that she's starting to fall for him is when he gives her those paints, right? But I don't think that's actually her falling for him, and let me explain. I think that's her falling for this life and like the peace that she's always wanted. She's always wanted to just, be an artist basically. She's falling in love with the life he's giving her, and that's not really falling in love with him. Just like there's a lot of people out there who fall for someone because they're getting attention from them.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same, but it's not true. You're just liking the attention. You're liking the feelings that that person is giving you. You don't actually like them.
Okay, I
Mm.
think I think it's an important thing to bring up about the this particular author. I think she gets into this mode where um is this love or is this not? Right? So she introduces characters and the FMC goes for it and enjoys it and feels like she's found something fantastic, but then she pulls back for different reasons. And I think this is part of our journey as human beings too, right? We are
Mhm.
attracted to different people. We can have initial relationships with them and say, you know what? I was in it for the wrong reasons. It's not really exactly what I'm made for. So we have to break it up. So I think SJM explores that in these books. And if you are too stuck to that first relationship, you're not going to enjoy the rest of the growth of that particular individual.
Call her out, Mom. Call her out.
Well, I agree. Like I did enjoy it. Yeah, and I think it is me. It's the romantic in me. I want to meet the couple on the page, see their love story, and see that even through adversity, even through change, even through growth, they remain together. And that is not SJM. That's not her vibe. And I have to remind myself that I'm not reading romance. I'm reading Romantasy. Maybe this time around, I'll try and be more open minded to Rhys.
I
Okay, that's
I
really, I really think you should.
like I did.
only if you can open your eyes, Juliet, and look at the reality of Tamlin instead of being judgmental with him.
Look, I'm trying, and I think I even said that I agreed with what you guys were saying. I
Mm-hmm.
said that he's not a bad guy. I just see little initial like sparks of things that happen later now that I'm rereading ACOTAR.
Yeah.
So that's all I said.
But yeah, look, we are still in many minds of the Rhys, Feyre, and Tamlin love triangle. So we would love to know your thoughts. Please leave them down on in the comment section below. Yeah, I think that wraps up today.
Can we talk about what we're reading? Because I know you guys are rereading this. I died this week. I got the latest book, Fearless, from the Powerless series. Lauren
Robert?
Roberts. She is my newest queen. I can't say enough about how she writes, the story she tells. Oh my God, not just the plot, but all the twists and turns and the yearning. And I think, Melissa, you're
Mm,
gonna pop your eyes out. It is
really?
amazing. Absolutely. Um, I had ups and downs. I was crying. And I should say, that has never happened with a romantasy book. And like at this point, I think I've read about 50 somewhere around there, and this series, wow,
So
amazing.
can you tell us the name of the series again? What is it? Powerless?
Yes, so Lauren Roberts is the writer, and she's young, she's like your age, right?
Hmm.
And then this last one, oh my God, this Fearless book, it killed me, it destroyed me in the best way possible.
We
And
love
and
that.
Fearless just came out like this week, right?
That's right, it came out and I ate it up. I read it in 2 days.
That's how you know it's good. That's how you know.
So good, so good.
Well, we'll definitely be discussing it on here at some point. At some point, we will.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's exciting. It seems like we have a lot on the roster. ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, Crescent City, Powerless. So if you want to hear more, like and subscribe and stay tuned. Court is now adjourned.